Welcome back to the Stoop football fans. It's your boy Lolo. We got Mark, we got James back. We just finished watching the Spurs Leeds United match, and depending who you asked, it went a bit as expected, but we'll get all into that in just a moment. But before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe and click the bell and write in the comments. We love talking with you guys in the comments. All right, let's get it going. James, not quite as happy of a morning as the last time we got up bright and early to watch Leeds play, but I mean, all things considered, big money club that's actually playing very, very well this season.
Yeah.
3-0, it's almost what was expected, except that I expected you guys to score. I thought you were going to score at least one or two, but it just didn't happen. The way Bielsa sets up and the way you guys play is kind of exactly what Tottenham look for, and it was going to come down to the little mistakes that they make and the little mistakes that you guys make. And to me, the big thing was Harry Kane and Son. They don't miss. They're only given a couple opportunities per game, and they don't really miss. Bamford had his opportunities. There were some crosses by Rafinha that were just glorious to nobody.
Yeah.
Jack Harrison had a shot that could have gone in. Even Dallas scuffed one. So to me, it was just little things. On paper, 3-0 looks like this huge disparity. But for most of the match, I thought you guys were the better team. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I thought like the first 30 minutes, we played really well. It looked like we were going to break through at times, even after Kane's penalty. I mean, I thought that we were going to break through. It looked like we might have a couple of opportunities to even the score up. Yeah, I was hoping to steal a point from this match. That would have been nice. But I thought overall it was a very, average, pedestrian performance from us on a couple of, from a couple of players, and on overall it was a very average pedestrian performance. You just can't give the ball up like we do in the back end like that and expect to get away with it, when you're playing teams like Tottenham. And we just gave up the ball too easily. Mellier again, that was the impetus for the penalty was that, just a very poor, pass out there. I mean, he had Dallas cutting across in front of him. He probably should have just made the easy pass, kicked it over to Stewart, and let Stewart either clear the ball or head up the pitch with it. But instead, he decides to kick it into traffic, and then the result is a penalty for them, and then that's just a bad decision.
You said last week, James.
I'm not the penalty, but the corner kick should have been saved. You should have saved that. Yeah. But again, he's a young guy, and you got to cut him some slack. So.
But you said last week, though, that same thing, that Mellier is good for one of those a match. And the past couple matches,
every match it seems
he was able to recover. Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
So again, it's youth. It's his youth. I think his inexperience, and that's with time. I think that'll disappear from his repertoire, or at least I'm hoping so. I'm hoping he doesn't make many of those in the future. I'm hoping he's learning. So the games like this, we've talked about it too in previous episodes. I mean, it's matches like this are a learning experience for the team. I mean, they're going up against a great manager with a lot of talents at his disposal, and you see how you stack up. And I thought today, on a couple of different areas, we're obviously just we couldn't stack up. I mean, we were just outmanned, and we went toe to toe with them for, like I said, for about half an hour, and then after that. The second half was just very humdrum, and a lot of poor deliveries and crosses into the box that went nowhere. I thought that the additions, the substitutions really didn't add anything to our attack, and I mean it was it was just a typical sort of match against the elite of the Premiership.
Yeah,
and we've seen it this year kind of play itself out over and over again. And this was just one of those where we just didn't show up. I don't think, at least not for the entire match.
Yeah, I think once again, if Bamford gets his head on that early cross the right way, it's a much different game. You score against Spurs first, and
20 minutes it could have been 2-0. And it should have been 2-0. Bamford, it's the heading issue again. I just don't know. I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's his timing. But something
it's his
is
timing.
off when he
it's
gets
his
those
timing for sure.
Into the box.
Yeah, it's his timing for sure. Because the commentators were even saying how, he stretched as far as he could for that one. And it's like, it was a free header basically. He shouldn't have had to stretch.
There's a bit of a laziness to his headers today.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of things I didn't like.
And a couple shots too.
Yeah,
were just
they were just very, there was no. They were very unspirited.
Yeah.
They were very unspirited shots, and that header was very lazy and unspirited. I saw a lot of things today that I didn't particularly care for with Leeds. I think if I'm a diehard Leeds fan, I'm angry at the way they played today. I don't find a single bright spot. I feel that Mellier lost the game for you.
Now,
the errant pass out of the box, you'd mentioned it, that set up the penalty. The sieve-like grab at or swat at the ball that led to the corner, and still he had the ball in his hands on the corner kick goal, and it leaked out. He was a sieve today. Like I
said, I hate to harp on it and to be too rough on him, but these are hopefully learning moments for him and growing moments. But I agree with you. It was not his finest performance, that's for sure.
But I don't put it on him.
I thought overall the team was uninspiring for the most part. It was just not. Except for the first part of the match, where I thought that we went toe to toe with them. We looked really good. Then, kind of after the penalty, we still look good, but then all of a sudden here comes the second goal, and then it's like, oh well. Then after that, it was a very just humdrum, performance. Not what I expect from this team.
Yeah, I don't want to put it all on him as well. I knew he was young. I didn't realize how young he was, and I also didn't realize that he's only been your keeper for about 11 months.
Yeah.
Well, look, you want to blame him for the first goal? Okay. The second goal, the
that
corner,
was a great touch
the corner. Yes, okay, he got a hand on it. If you're a keeper and you get a hand on it, it shouldn't go in, right? But he also kept 4 or 5 shots out. Like he made some decent saves as well. So that shows me that there was something else going on for them to be able to get that many shots in.
True.
For them to get that many clear opportunities. And so the problem is you're going up against a big club, and I hate Tottenham. I mean, go watch my video. Tottenham sucks.
I despise them too.
So me saying this hurts, and I'm constantly swallowing vomit right now trying to explain this. But they're a good club this year. They park the bus, and they score on their minimal opportunities.
Oh yeah.
To show you how they feel and how Mourinho feels about Leeds United, they had like 18 shots today.
Yeah.
In other matches where they've scored 2 or 3 goals, they've had 2 or 3 shots.
Yeah.
So to show you how bad it could have been 18-0.
No, absolutely.
So there's something else. However, every time Leeds attacked and was over in their box, I was counting. It was eight guys in there, 8 Spurs back there.
Yeah.
So that's also a sign of respect as well. But the guys, it was a vast difference in talent and experience in the Premier League. Like last week was a vast difference between Leeds and West Brom.
West Brom, yeah.
Today was like, okay, Leeds United this year is a mid-tier team. You're nowhere near the bottom in skill, in quality, but not quite ready to be up in the top.
No, exactly.
And we keep seeing it every time you go up against a big club. And we're seeing that Arsenal is not the big club this year because you guys drew against us and gave us a hell of a match. But that's where Leeds is at right now. And if you look at all the message boards and everything, Leeds United fans were saying, do I want this to be 13-0 Leeds? Yes. What's it gonna be? Probably 2-0 Spurs.
Yeah.
And everybody was very, very close on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if anything,
I completely agree with you, and I would say, getting back to Mellier, I think sometimes Mellier's finest moments are actually when we're down, and he needs to make these big saves to make the score look somewhat respectable.
Yeah, almost like saving face.
Remember the save that he made against Chelsea?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
When he came out and made a gorgeous save, he did the same thing again today. And he's great in those situations where, he's one-on-one with the attacker, and he usually wins. He usually wins those. He's basically his own worst enemy. I mean, the fact that a lot of the goals, come from mistakes that he makes back there, which, just bad clearances, poor decisions on, where to send the ball from his position. I mean, and the attacker gets it, someone else from the opposition gets it, and they create something from it. And it, he's got to just learn how to, stop that. I mean,
and once again, that's all
part of those mistakes.
Yeah, that's all Bielsa wants as well. Bielsa wants you to learn from your mistakes. He said it numerous times. It's not about individual performances for him on how he chooses his side and sees the future. He needs to see him getting better. And what I did see this week was him catching the ball. It looked like he was really focused on not parrying like he did last week. And he was so focused on catching it.
Again, in a prior segment, remember? I mean, where he just was slapping at the ball, and punching at the ball way too much. And today, I mean, he commanded the box. I mean, earlier in the match, he made a fantastic catch. In the box. Yeah. And
that everyone's going, no.
He's capable of
parried that one.
Yeah. I think if there's anything that I can take away, I said earlier that I didn't find any bright spots. I think one of them would be is that there was a continued spirited fight. That they were still fighting. They weren't giving up. But one thing I did notice was that there was, noticing it for the first time, that I noticed some frustration with the Leeds players. It just in the second half, I saw a lot of hands going in the air, and it's something I've never seen with Leeds before.
Yeah, no, it was definitely there. I mean, you can tell there were times when players expected other players to be in certain positions or make runs. They didn't do it. And, we're not in the position they were expected to be in. And that was... Yeah, I mean, you could tell there was definitely some frustration out there. And, they care. I mean, obviously, it wasn't like they were apathetic about, being out there today. They cared about winning. They wanted to win this match. They wanted to perform well. The problem was, it's just that it was not, I don't know, that sort of passion didn't translate itself into performance. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
They were passionate about it, but it just didn't, like it sometimes does with Leeds, where they just thrive on that passion and on that energy. Today, it just seemed to be, there was something missing, there was something lacking. And that's why I maybe erroneously termed it as an uninspired performance, but there was just something, there was something absent today. You have to put your finger on it, but every team has those days. Every side has a bad day, and today was a bad day for us. Like I said, it was a very average, pedestrian performance. I think.
I don't know. I feel like it wasn't as terrible of a performance as I'm hearing from people, because I felt like it was just those final moments. It was in either box. It was just those final moments of quality that were missing. because
I
so much
that.
went
It was a
well.
terrible performance.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm just saying that it was, like I said, it was average to me.
Yeah.
It was average. In order to beat a team like Tottenham or to take a point away from this match, you need something better than average. You can't go out there and play your average game. You're going to come away with nothing.
Yeah,
and
speaking
we
on,
may be able to go out against a team like Burnley or a team like Brighton, who's coming up on our schedule, and get away with playing an average type match and just getting a goal when you're there and escaping with a 1-0 win. You're not going to do that against Tottenham.
That was, one of the things I also noticed was that wasn't exactly Spurs' best game.
Well, because they had to play a different way.
I don't even think that having the extra day rest was all that beneficial to them. I don't think that they played that sharp.
It didn't look that way early on, right? Like I said, early on, we really took the game to them. Yeah. And it looked like, having not played that match, against Fulham really hurt them. But, we just weren't able to capitalize on our opportunities. And we weren't able to sustain that energy throughout the course of the match, and that was a real issue. And like I said, getting back to Mellier, just look, he has all the physical tools, eliminate the mistakes, and I think that he can be an elite keeper in the league for a long time to come.
Yeah.
But again, those mistakes, like Lolo was saying, really came back to hurt us ultimately. And he's going to have to eliminate those from his repertoire.
So speaking about future performances, you have the current England striker, and you have Patrick Bamford, who maybe is hoping in a few years, maybe 4 or 5 years, he can start to take that spot. I mean, Harry Kane scored today and became level with Patrick Bamford. So Patrick Bamford has actually had more goals coming into it. What do you think that dynamic was like on the pitch? I did see them kind of going at it at 1 second in the box, like a little pushing going on. Do you think there's anything to that for Bamford, like wanting to show himself?
Oh, I definitely think so. I mean, they came up together in the youth system.
Yeah.
So they know each other from those days. And I think that Patty had something to prove today. I mean, I think that he wanted to prove something, but like I said with him, he's more concerned about winning the matches and instead of these individual, competitions he may have with opposing players. Yeah. I think for him it's just all about winning. I think he's going to be very disappointed about not winning this match, regardless of what happened with his, semi-rivalry with Harry Kane. Even though, I don't know how much of a rivalry it is. I don't know what the relationship was like. I know, like I said, they know each other from, coming up together in the youth programs. But that's pretty much it. I don't know. I mean, in the future, look, Patty's 27?
Yeah.
So he doesn't have, that much longer to really prove himself. He's getting to the nitty gritty. 3 or 4 years, that's probably his window.
Well, I mean, if he keeps putting in performances like he has for a lot of the season, he may get the call up to, he may sit on the bench, but, those Euro matches are fast and furious as well, so he'd be an option. But the dude needs to finish. He needs...
Yeah.
Somebody's got to just work with him constantly.
Needs to work on his heading.
On his heading, yes.
Heading practice.
Heading practice. There were too many good crosses.
He should be in there on the training ground doing heading practice.
Exactly.
For, 5 hours a day. It should be just devoted to heading. Of course, then it would be a vegetable, but...
All right. Well, James, I think we've said about all we can say about this match.
There's not much to say, really. I mean, it's just sort of one of those situations where, it was a golf in talent. It was, we were just, like I said, there was something lacking today in our play. Those, like you said, those little mistakes that turned into, huge mistakes. Yeah. And it was just like they sort of compounded the agony as as it went on. And then, ending up 3-0, and I would like to have scored a goal as well. I mean,
Yeah.
Scoring a goal to me was kind of something that was key for today, as a chart of charting our success and our progress was scoring on Tottenham, because statistically, I mean, their defense is the best in the Premiership, I think.
Yep.
So breaking them down and scoring on them would have been huge for us, but so it was an off day. It was an off day, and every team has them. And we just have to bounce back and beat the crap out of Crawley Town next Sunday.
Yep. Speaking of Crawley Town, on Sunday in the FA Cup, the Monday following that, James and I will be on All Leeds TV with Joe and Oscar, and we'll be going live with them. So that should be a lot of fun. Sorry, Mark, they didn't. I don't know. It's hard enough to get an Arsenal fan on there. So they really only want James.
They're only allowed 2 Americans on at a time.
I was like, well, we're a package deal, boys. And they're like, well, what are you going to talk about? Nothing. What I usually talk about, nonsense. So that should be a fun hour. So make sure you guys check in on that. I'm sure if you're a fan of our show, you know all about their show. So, well, cool, James. Let's look forward to that and staying in the FA Cup and maybe build some confidence, dominate them. I know you say that you're going close to London, and that's a little tricky for you guys, but I'm sure you'll get a handle.
Go down, like I said, Crawley Town. Even though we're so Leeds, our London woes are notorious, so I'm not even going to get into them. But going down to Crawley Town. Even though it's near Gatwick, it's out in the suburbs. Still, I mean, I'm scared. I am scared.
Yeah.
Playing Crawley Town, and plus we have not played well in the FA Cup in recent years. So,
well, what are the chances?
I mean, it's a list of agonizing defeats.
What are the chances Bielsa starts his Premier League side, the same exact team?
Yeah, I think he will, and I'll tell you why. Because on that Monday morning, the Monday morning following that, our under-23s play Burnley. So I think he's going to try to save as many as the under-23s as possible for that.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to play a lot of the starters against Crawley Town. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if you'd see, 3/4 of the side be starters. Yeah. And then he may have like a sprinkling of people like Shackleton or whatever in there as well. Phillips got another yellow today, so he's out for that one. So we'll have to, have somebody else in our central defensive midfield role.
Wait, didn't the yellow cards wipe out on the 31st?
No, they wipe out after this. So he did it on purpose, I think. I think it was intentional. I mean, I think that he wanted to go ahead and get his yellow card now because they're cleared after Crawley. And I don't think we're going to need him for Crawley. At least we should need him.
Sure.
So I think that it was intentional on his part. He'll start off with a clean slate beginning next week.
Well, let's look forward to that. We're going to go inside and watch some more football. And we'll be back with the Arsenal review after the Arsenal match. Hopefully a happy one. If not, it's going to be freaking angry because it's West Brom.
Playing West Brom. You'll be
Shut
fine.
up. We're still Arsenal. Good God.
You're the new, young, and improved Arsenal.
You have to match our performance against West Brom, so I expect from you all, maybe 2 or 3 goals at least.
We'll see. Where they'll come from, probably from our 20-year-olds. So we'll see. The poor 20-year-olds are feeding Aubameyang like, come on, pal, you can do it.
Come on, Graham.
You can do it. And he's like, no, I just can't. And they're, come on, look, I have your Black Panther mask. And he's like, no, I don't want it. So meanwhile, Lacazette's on the bench like,
I'll wear that mask.
I'll do it. Anyway, we'll be back with that, okay? Keep your heads up. You're beating the teams that you need to beat, and that's what's most important, all right?
Exactly.
So once again, thank you guys for watching the show. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, James. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Check out our Patreon account, and you can buy us a beer or something. All right?
All right.
There we go. Leeds, brother.
Leeds.
All right. Peace.